back to Get Into It with Tami Roman. Listen, this next guest I'm excited to have here. I've listened to this man pretty much my entire life. Please welcome Nephew Tommy to the show.
Tami, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. You know, I make a joke about it, but like your voice has been a part of my life. Most of my life, most of my adult life, really.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
So how's life been treating you?
Life is good. You know, I can't complain. I got a hit TV show that's hitting home runs right now. I'm on a radio show that's been hitting home runs for years.
Yes.
I'm selling out comedy clubs around the country. So come on, I can't complain.
Well, how are you juggling everything? I mean, because you just said it, comedian, radio show, your own show on own, actor. Like, how are you doing all this?
You know what? I'm just taking it little by little. I think COVID slowed me down enough to kind of like catch my breath. But now, you know, we're everything is opening back up, and I'm back. I just jumped right back into the club, and I'm gonna tell you something. I will never go that long again without being on stage. That year and some change that did me, man. Don't get me wrong. We wrote a lot of stuff,
yes,
which was good. You got a lot of new material.
Yes,
but
yes.
That drought of not being on there using that muscle, I didn't like that.
Let me tell you something, Tommy. I have so much respect for y'all comedians. And, you know, like I do this thing on Instagram called Bonnet Chronicles. And so, you know, it's funny to some people. So comedy clubs started inviting me to come out.
Right.
So I put together, you know, a little set to host and everything. I used to have the bubble guts. Man, I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I can't remember the material. Like, I used to freak out. I said, please don't call me a comedian. That is, I tell stories. They might be funny to somebody, may not be funny to somebody else. But comedians, they have earned that title.
Yeah. You got to go do it. And this is not a team type of sport. There's nobody to pass it off to, baby. You got to go in there and get it. You got to stand flat-footed and deliver.
Yes. I said, oh my God, I don't know. And they keep asking me to come back out on the road. And I was like, child, no. And COVID made me think about it because I was like, not what? A check ain't came in for a year. I might need to get around there and take people off of. But I couldn't do it. I respect y'all so much.
But you know what? Your personality is so sweet. You can get up there and handle it. You can hold the crowd, girl. You can do that.
I did okay. I did do okay. And you know, we sold out all the 10 cities that we went to every night.
That's good.
But the emotional anxiety.
I know. Let me tell you something. It's what's crazy about it is this. You're so nervous. But once you get up there, I'm good. It's the leading up to it that bothers you.
It's the lead up. And I couldn't take it. I said, it's too much pressure on me. Now, you and Steve Harvey have a long history.
Yeah.
What's it like working with Steve? And I hate to ask you this because you probably get asked this all the time, but Steve is a special individual.
Yes.
You know, so and I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. What I mean by that is he's very structured in his way of thought.
Yeah.
And you know, he's funny, and then he's very opinionated. And you know, so what is that like being behind the scenes working with him?
You know what? It's kind of like a training camp, and you get to see some daredevil stuff that I would probably not do. Mm-hmm. But you know, that's why people who are, you know, that's why he is who he is. He takes the risk, but you know, you get to learn, and you know, sometimes God will put you in a position where you're able to just sit there and be a sponge and soak up good things, and you know, soak up some good and some bad. Yes. But it's a learning process. But I think what, you know, just being under that umbrella, what I've learned, Tami, is the hustle that this brother got is so real. Yep. The hustle is so real, man. It's so I have picked up that energy where, you know, I got, you know, now I want 2-3 more TV shows. You know what I mean? Like I got that drive now. So now I'm calling OWN and Discovery saying, hey, I got another show. Y'all need to check this one out.
That's right. That's right. I tell you, I did his show when he had the sitcom, the Steve Harvey show, and I did a guest spot on there. And the best part of that show was not even working, on the set doing the lines, but the moments before,
Yeah.
sitting in his dressing room, and he pulls out that cigar, and then we talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and he just dropped so much wisdom and knowledge on
Yep.
me about the business, like just how to maneuver through the business as a female.
Right.
And I always remember that. Like even to this day, I still implement some of the, the things and advice that he gave me. So, he's a very
So you already know to get that on it, to be able to get that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I find myself just, he says something so incredible sometimes. I say, okay, let me text that to myself.
Right.
I can't forget this one.
Yes. Now, word on the curve is that you are really his nephew. Is that true?
That's the word, baby. All day, every day. All day, every day. Look,
so we'll
you see the resemblance?
I do. It's the head for me.
Yeah.
It's the head. Same shape head. So now let's talk about Nephew Tommy, because you're hosting the dating show Ready to Love on the OWN network. Right. Now, how did this happen?
Ooh, Tami, you know what? You know how we've been in this Hollywood stuff for a minute. You know how people will say, hey, let's do lunch, and hey, I'll have my people call your people.
Yeah.
And it's all hoopla to me. I'm a country boy from Texas, so when you tell me something, let's be real about it.
Let's be real about it. Mm-hmm.
But one time, Will Packer told me, he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna have something for you." I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I've heard this before. Man, he called me and told me he was gonna have two or three shows that were gonna be on the OWN network. Mm-hmm. He says one of them is called Ready to Love, and I want you to host it. And I say, Will, don't play with me. I thought it was a prank phone call. I really did. I said, do not play with me. This is not cool. And he was like, no, Tom, I want you, man. I dropped to my knees, Tami. I cried so hard, girl. I couldn't believe it. And he said, the reason I want you to do this, he says, because you and your wife have been together for a very long time. He said, and let me tell you, that's unusual, brother. He said, and we had a conversation about my parents. My parents were married till my dad passed away in 2015, Wow. So when I don't know anything else when it comes to relationship. My mind is till death do us part.
Right.
So if you want to leave, then so one of us got to lay it down. You got to die to get out of here. So that's all I know. That's what my parents were, and that's what made him say this is the right person for this job. So we're in June now. In another week, me and my wife are celebrating 20 years of being married.
Hey, hey,
20, girl.
She's a co-host on the show, right?
She's been guest starring and dropping here and there. So we'll see what happens next season. When I don't bring my baby a check, we'll drop her in some more.
I know that's right. I love what you said about Will, though, because I've worked with Will in many capacities, and I've auditioned for a lot of his projects. Right. But one thing about him is when he says something,
he does it.
Absolutely follows through. And so that's, like you said, that's a characteristic in Hollywood, right? That you don't see very often. Everybody's got something, everybody's doing something. Oh, I'm gonna look you up, I'm gonna holler at you, let's do lunch and all this stuff. And nobody ever really comes through. And Will, for me, I was at his office auditioning one time, and he said, hey, I got a project, and I want you, we're going to need some influencers, and I want you to, come on board and talk about the project. I said, well, you got that bread? He said, I got that bread. I said, okay. And I sat back and waited, and lo and behold, when the project hit, they reached out to me, and he made sure I got the money that I, said I needed. And so those people are rare gems. And so I said all that to say, it's a blessing to have someone like that in your corner as it pertains to your show, because they're going to fight for you and they're going to have your back at every turn. Now, Ready to Love is in its 4th season. Did you think it would be a hit when it started?
You know what? when we first started, Tami, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how, you just do something and throw it up against the wall and see if it's gonna stick.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. And then the first season, people were like, wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we kept rolling and kept rolling. And now, Tami, we're in the middle of 4 and we're on our way to Washington, D.C. to do 5 and 6. That tells it all. But I did not know where this was going to go. And I'm not a person that has a degree in relationship. All I can do is share what I've been through, what I watched my parents go through, and just be real. I'm just being real with you about what you're trying to get to. You're trying to find love. I'm trying to help you. But if you come in here running game, I'm gonna call you out.
Right. And that's what we love about the show. I think we actually have a clip, so let's take a look.
It's your boy Tommy Miles, and I'm back at it again.
Friday, April 2nd.
This season, I'm bringing the heat to my home. Well, I'll be helping 20 eligible singles find something real. And there's more than a few surprises along the way. For the first time in Ready to Love history, we're gonna find out if the lonely hearts of the Lone Star State are truly ready to love.
What was it like bringing the show here to Houston?
Oh my God. This is home. So, I get to stick my chest out and show people across the country that haven't been to Houston. We get to show you that we are the 4th largest city, that we got some nice areas, we got some nice places, we got things that you ought to fly down here and hang out and get your groove on in Houston. So to bring it home, it just felt good. It felt refreshing, and to be able to, I feel like I brought Hollywood to Houston for a minute.
Yeah, and we need a Hollywood here because there's so much here. You know what I mean? But I know that things can get pretty wild and crazy on the show. What's the craziest thing you've seen happen on the show?
Tami, one of my seasons. Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
One of my seasons. We just finished. We probably had finished, and we're probably a month later now. And my wife and I go to a viewing party. This is like the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Tami, I see one of my contestants and I'm looking at her. I'm like, yo, I said, what's going on? You all right? She was like, oh yeah. I'm good. I said, okay. And then she tells me, yeah, I'm 8 months pregnant. I said, but we just finished shooting a month ago. I was pregnant then. I was like, so you're pregnant? So you was on the show, pregnant, but didn't tell nobody. And then when I see you, you finally tell me, excuse me, and I'm floored. I can't believe it. So when we get to the reunion, we do the reunion. She's 9 months and expecting any moment now. She could have had the baby right there on my damn stage.
Wow.
That is the craziest thing that has ever happened. I hadn't seen nothing like that. One of my contestants is on a dating show and is pregnant and ain't told none of us.
Wow. And didn't want love with the baby father. She was like, I'm out here trying to find me some new stuff.
Another baby, a new baby dad.
Oh my God. Okay, we're going to get into some relationship topics because I need to pick your brain. But before we go to break, I heard that you're launching a grits company.
Girl, I got some grits, girl. We got to talk about these grits. I'm telling you.
Now, what's going on with the grits?
I got some grits. Listen, I've been playing with this for about 3 years now. And I collaborated with this guy. He makes seasoning. He's incredible. Yeah. Right here in Houston. And we started tripping with some grits. He said, I want you to try these grits. I said, okay. And he blew me away. So I said, okay, wait, let's do this and do this. So we went to playing chemist, and next thing you know, we have flavored grits. We have an original flavor. We got a spicy flavor, and then there's always a grits conversation where you want salt and pepper, you want some sugar.
Yeah.
So we have a sweet flavor. So these are really, really, and it's called Just Good Grits. And they'll be hitting the scene probably in another month or so. They'll be hitting the scene. We're gonna do a soft launch just to see how it works out.
Well, I want to come taste the grits, but let me ask you this. Are you salt and pepper or you sugar?
You know what? I grew up doing sugar, but lately I'm this spicy, these spicy grits we got. I'm like, okay, there's nothing better than this. So we got one called spicy love. I'm telling you, there's nothing. This is off the chain.
Okay, I might try it just for you, but I'm definitely gonna give me some of them sugar grits, okay? Because that's what I grew up on. We'll be right back. This is Get Into It with Tami Roman, and my guest, Nephew Tommy, is in the building. Y'all stick around. We'll be right back. To Get Into It with Tami Roman. Now, I am here in case you missed the first half. Shame on you, because we talked about grits and everything. Here with the host of Ready to Love, the hit show on OWN, Nephew Tommy. Now, let me ask you this, because you the relationship guy.
Okay.
And so I want to know, what's the common mistake that people make when dating?
You know what, here lately, what I see, I think the biggest mistake is communication. Mm-hmm. Communication is just not there. I think the texting has gotten in the way. Any social outlets that we use, we don't use. I'm old fashioned, I guess. You know, I think physically talking to somebody really does the trick, because you get the genuineness of it. I think people can, your text can be miscalculated sometimes. And, I don't feel the love in a text, but I feel it when I'm having a conversation or I'm talking, and it's organic. It just feels different. And communication, there's a lot, Tami, there's a lot of people in relationships that are, you might hear your partner, but you're not listening to your partner. And listening and hearing is two different things. Correct. A lot of people hearing, but a lot of folks ain't listening. So there's a difference between the two. And I think that happens, even myself. There's times where I might be sitting on the couch and my wife is talking, I hear her, but I ain't listening. You know what I mean? When you've been married longer than I have, you can fake it and to the point where, what? You kidding me? When did I you know how to jump in, but you are not listening.
Yes. And people often, with communication, it's the way that you perceive what another person is saying, right? And I think when you say, what is the biggest obstacle in relationships, and people always say, well, communication. But I think it has to go further than that, because I think people don't know how to communicate properly. Even when you're listening, that still does not control how you understood what that person said. And I think people need to have a moment within their conversations and their communication where they repeat back, where they throw it back and say, I feel like I heard you say this. So the person can be, because sometimes it's like, no, that's not what I meant. My husband and I do that. And he's like, no, that's not what I meant to say,
Right. So, but you know what? But the fact that you and your husband continue to talk is how you get to it and find out, oh, okay, that's what you meant.
Right. You got to address things right in the moment. Do you like speed dating and online dating? Because I know that when we talk about things that are happening with relationships and communication and how social media is impacting the dynamic between interpersonal relationships and couples, but a lot of people are finding their mates online.
You know what? And that's good. That's good. But I think there's a lot of stuff that you haven't found, So once you lock up with someone online, there's still a lot of learning to do. There's still a lot you have to explore within this person, because these little emails and things you done online and so forth. What about when it's just we physically are here together? That is where the relationship has to grow. Because we can't live online together. Right.
I've known some couples that are like consider themselves in full-fledged relationships and still haven't met. You advise against that.
But what's the purpose? When are we going to meet? When are we going to get to the physical of us being face to face on a daily basis? That's I don't know. I just can't live online like that.
He said, I just ain't good. I can't see it.
Yeah, I got to be able to feel this, understand this, and the physical, the being there. I want to hear you. I want to hear your voice. I want to see you. But for me to just shoot you a few emails or we communicating back and forth on whatever outlet it is, I just don't think it's enough. I don't think we're genuinely
unrealistic.
We're not getting all the way down to it. We're not.
Yeah. Around here at Fox Soul, we like to educate our soulmates, right? The viewers. And so I want to ask you, when you're on a date, what topics do you feel should be off limits?
I don't think sex should be an issue. I don't think we even need to discuss it. And then some people kind of trip on this one. I don't think on the first couple of dates that I do think it needs to come later. Finance. I don't think we have to discuss it.
I agree.
You know what I mean? But it is important. You know what I mean? You don't want to find out 6 months later if you in debt for $200,000. Really?
Right.
You know? So I think sex, financials, and that's about it. I mean, children, we can discuss it. Do we have them? Does each party have kids already? Or, I don't think we need to have the discussion on, are you looking to have more kids until we know we further deep into this?
Yeah, I agree with you. I like all the things that you said, because I feel like from a female standpoint, that would scare, like that would scare me. Like if a man sat down with me and start talking about all that stuff, I'll be like, well, hold up, homie, we just trying to see if we even get along first, So I think a lot of women are scaring men away, and I hate to use that verbiage, but it's like they're losing interest because you're thinking about marriage. They feel you thinking about marriage, and it's like we just got to dinner.
Man, let me tell you, it's the problem is that the first few dates, what makes a person push back is if the other person it comes in as if they're interviewing them.
Tommy, now more than ever, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because it's just not what I come from. But everybody's sexually fluid. It's like it's so many letters now. It's the queers, and then it's the people who said they binary, non-binary. It's so much stuff out here. But do you think that when you're interested in a person, when is the right moment to ask them what they're into sexuality-wise?
Wow, that's a good question. I think you have to ask that question. And that can be second or third date, but you got the rights to ask that. I mean, because that's where eventually where it's going to go. So you definitely want to know where they are sexually and what have you been doing? What are you into? I need to know that. We have to be compatible when it comes to that.
Yeah. So on the first couple of dates, don't necessarily talk about sex like in full detail, but you are allowed to just try to get a gauge on what a person is into from a sexuality standpoint.
I think so. I think you have every right to do that. I don't, as a male, I wouldn't want to sit down with a female and she thinks that that's the main thing on my mind. You know what I mean? So because I want you to fall for me, on a whole nother level. I want you to be engulfed in my conversation, how I treat you, how I make you feel, not just, he trying to do this. Because that, if that was me, that wouldn't be my objective when I first sit down with you. I want to sit down and see if I got to fall in love with your mind first. Your mind is what's going to be important to me, because that's the sexy part.
Now, a lot of older women wrote in because they wanted to find out where you think there is potential for them to find love, because they say it's harder to date for them.
It is. Yeah. And you know what? I've been getting so many people that are in their late 50s and 60s that have been hitting me up. Tommy, let's have a, ready to love 60s.
Yeah.
And I feel them. I understand that they're looking for it. Where do you go to find it? That's pretty, that's a pretty broad question. I mean, because you don't expect the 60s to be hanging out at the nightclub. That's not their thing, you know? Then you start directing them to the church, and then you start directing them elsewhere, and it becomes difficult. Then this whole, like you were speaking of earlier, maybe that's when the whole online thing makes even more sense, Let me ask you something, because I've been thinking about this. and maybe you can help your boy out. Do you think if I opened a dating app that it might be something beneficial?
Absolutely. The
Okay.
ready to love.
Well, I would do a different name because I wouldn't want to. I don't know how much that name costs, Tami.
Yeah. So a different brand.
Yeah.
Under the, as long as we know that it's you and it's affiliated with Nephew Tommy, so that the people feel like they're going to get that advice from you. I think that would be a great thing, because we look to you now as an authority in the relationship space. I mean, you've helped so many couples on, and help people find love on Ready to Love, that it's like, how to match people together and know what people should be looking for. I think that'd be an amazing opportunity.
That's what I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear, especially when I can create those categories. Here's people in their 40s, people in their 50s and 60s and so on, and these are people that are looking for love. And I'm gonna come up with a good name for it, but I'm just I've been playing with it. Should I put a love app together and see what happens?
Absolutely, because the Christians that's mangling on the Christian mangle, they ain't all the way Christian. They just so we don't want them. And plenty of fish. It's a lot of barracudas in there.
Exactly.
Nobody really trying to mess with them. So I feel like we do need an app where professionals can go and interact and meet people.
Right.
So we waiting on it. We're gonna be waiting on it.
Say no more. Okay. Say right behind those grits.
Yeah.
Will be a dating app.
You better come on with it. Listen, let me ask you this before we head out. Everybody has to compromise in a relationship, right? We understand that, and a lot of us are bringing baggage from one situation to the next. But where is the line drawn when it comes to compromising versus being taken advantage of?
Oh man, good question. I think people have to know the baggage that you're bringing to the relationship, and the expectations. So, you coming into a relationship, you got this baggage, and some people, to be honest with you, that mental baggage that they have, a lot of times it's been built up so much to where it has become a cancer, to the point where you have not released that yet, but now you're taking it to another relationship, and that's saying it's some women that got with some men, and guess what? They done brought all this from this last guy, and guess what? Now you're taking it out on this next person, and it has nothing to do with him. You still got luggage from the last cat. So the problem is that let's let this go, because this guy that you're on your way to does not deserve that. And we all, whether it's male or female, have brought that baggage to certain relationships. You're holding on to it, and guess what? It comes out in this next relationship like, oh my God, where did this come from? It's not fair to the next person who has done nothing. You got to clean the slate. But in order to clean the slate, you got to do some self-reflecting to make sure this is gone. Sometimes you need to take a break before you go into another relationship and get rid of this problem that you got, or whatever happened to you. You're scorned. You've been bruised. I get it. But you're going to have to heal before you go somewhere else, because it's not fair to the next person. And I think we have to draw the line when you start bringing all of that to this next person, and who has done nothing, and now you're taking it out on them. You're still in the whatever problem you had in the past, you still got it because you have not healed. And
I agree. Amen. Before we let you go, Nephew Tommy, we do something around here called Tammy's Fast Five. I'll ask you 5 rapid fire questions, and you just give me the first answer that pops into your head. You ready?
Come on.
When was the last time you cried?
3 days ago.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I'm a germaphobe.
What will we be surprised to know about you in the relationship space?
Oh God. I want it as much as I can get it.
What body part do you feel is the sexiest on your wife?
Her face.
Oh, Jacqueline, you got a good one. And so, we always ask a sexual question around
Sure.
here. You and your wife, how many times a day do you have sex?
Ooh. When we on a roll, whoa, twice.
There it is.
Twice.
There it is, soulmates. He's
When we in Cabo next week, about 4 or 5 times a day.
Oh, I love it. Hey, Nephew Tommy, thank you for coming through. Get into it with Tami Roman and joining me tonight. Now, soulmates, you need to make sure you check your local listings for when Ready to Love is set to air again, but it definitely comes on the OWN network. Nephew Tommy, how can everybody reach you?
You can reach me at thomasmiles.com or at Nephew Tommy, the Nephew Tommy EXP, the Nephew Tommy Experience EXP. But go to thomasmiles.com and go to my website. You can click on all the social media outlets, and you can see what I'm doing, where I'm booked. You can check out my foundation, Miles of Giving, where I give back to wounded veterans. Trying to do a whole lot, but check out my calendar. It's filling up because we back open.
Hey, woo, woo. Stick around, soulmates. You've got questions. I've got answers. Ask Tami is up next on Fox Soul.